panelists, but let me see if I can sort you out. If you're not, someone's done that, haven't they? There you go, Alexis, you are in. Congratulations. Oh gosh, hi everybody. Hey, hey, Dominic. Hey, Sukri. Hey, nice to see you in the room, Paul. I'm just going to make Sukri a panelist so he can speak when it is his turn. Hey, Lionel, Gary, nice to have you guys along. Different time today. I do appreciate your flexibility on it. We will be back to the normal time tomorrow. Let me jump on the camera. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Sunday Weekly Market Analysis Show. Running a little bit later so we could make some time for crypto. Well done, Gary. That is going to be an amazing program. Look, I've only got a minute before I'm going to hand on to Alexis. We are on the snappy format today, 5 minutes for everybody, a minute for me. Here's what I've got, guys. Stimulus coming from the US. I'm long US stocks. I'm long Bitcoin. I'm long oil, and I'm short a pound. That is me. I have got, how much of my minute have I got left? I'll be interested to ask the other guys if the stimulus thing's going to have an impact on their opinions as they go through. We do have Alexis doing fundamentals, so she may touch on that or some other stuff. Alexis, what is happening this week fundamentally? How will that impact the markets? What do we need to know?
Hi, Paul. Hi, everybody. Hi. I think Shukri will be happy. There's tons of Bitcoin news that are in the market, so that's quite interesting. Over on the fundamental side, I think there are some speculations that have been starting on whether or not interest rates in the US will begin to go up in the next couple of months / weeks / quarters, depending on where it goes. So there are some reactions on the European side where they are predicting markets. The US has a good chance of increasing interest rates. So that will be interesting to see in the next couple of months whether or not that happens. And also, I think I am actually watching the US dollar for the next couple of weeks as things start to stabilize in the Biden era. I think the US dollars does have potential to start gaining a little bit of strength, and also seasonally the beginning of the year tends to have a little bit more US dollar strength. So if I just quickly share a couple of charts over here. Okay, I think the next couple of months, people they will be looking out for carry trade opportunities. So for those of you who are not too sure what it is, do Google it. And over here on my screen, there is just a couple of interest rates I'm flashing out just to give you a comparison. So currently, in terms of carry trade, there is not much opportunity that can be found. So it really depends on, I guess, whether or not US starts to move interest rates. The moment interest rates move, we are going to see a lot more movement in Forex because carry trade might be revived in that sense. All right. So you can see now the interest rates of most of the bigger major economies, very, very similar interest rates. There's not much in terms of carry trading. And carry trading is where you take advantage of the interest rates in two different economies. All the way to, China. So this is just a bit of preview. So what will probably happen in the next kind of period, eyes will be on the US to kind of watch, will the US start to move interest rates or not? All right. So if we go and just have a quick look on the US dollar pairs, let me just go out to the monthly time frame just for a bigger, a longer preview. A lot of the US dollar pairs are at really interesting levels. They are like, for example, dollar Swiss has just come off the bottom. The last 3 months were up months for the dollar Swiss. And if you compare it all the way to 2011, that was the big spike after the 2008 crash, you can see that it's coming up from the bottom. Dollar CAD, probably, as I mentioned last week, the CAD is a little bit tied to oil. So I'm just going to skip this one because as long as oil gains in strength, we will see the CAD gain in strength as well. Same thing for the dollar yen. You can see 3 big monthly bars on the dollar yen. The beginning of the year has been good for the dollar yen as well. Dollar Kiwi, it probably is just starting to figure out whether or not it's going to go up. Coming off a green February, and we'll see whether March will give us a green as well. So again, they're all at very interesting levels, and of course, dollar Sing bouncing off this level for the second time since 2018, right? And again, 3 green monthly bars. So it will be interesting to see whether this momentum continues with the expectation of whether or not the US dollar will increase interest rates. Of course, if the US dollars stay the same in terms of interest rates for now, we will see a slow appreciation of the US dollars. But the moment, I think if the expectation of an increased interest rates, then we should see a lot more volatility and a lot more exchange of US dollars coming in, which would again give a little bit of push in the US dollars as people try to take advantage of the interest rate differential over here. Other pairs that I'll be looking at next week, I'm still the same story on the pound. Let me just go to the daily chart on this. Again, the pound, it's probably reacting pretty much what I've expected for the pound dollar. It had a slight pop-up from after the retracement. Whether or not it's going to continue will be interesting to see. I'm still bullish on the pound. Pound Aussie, I'm not looking because the Aussie is also pretty, the Aussie does have a bit of strength, so I'm not looking at that. Pound Yen is a bit toppish. I am looking for a retracement before continuing the long in Pound Yen. Pound CAD, again, I did mention that huge, that strength in oil has pushed the Pound CAD down, so just going to give that a miss. And Pound Kiwi, again, it's a bit flat right now, but I'm still a bit bullish the pound, so I will continue to take advantage if the pound pairs move up next week. But I suspect next week will be a retracement week for the pound. A lot of the pound pairs are a bit toppish, so we should see the cyclicity pulling it backwards. So that's all for me, Paul. Next week I'm looking at the pound and the dollar for opportunities.
Cheers, Alexis. Thank you very much. Interesting that carry rate stuff. Carry will be the future the next 4 or 5 years as interest rates separate out a little bit as we go forward. Next up is Ash. Ash, what are we talking about today? Ash, you're going to be talking about cotton seasonals. You're talking more on fundamentals today.
Yeah, going to talk about the cotton and seasonals. I think they are quite. They've got some signals that I think we need to be taking some note of here. So let me just share my screen here. So let's have a look. This is what we have. Where we go? Here we go. This is what we have. So the most notable actually this week are probably the euro, the yen, and the Swiss are quite interesting, and also the dollar is of interest as well. But so let's have a look at these in a bit of order. So the euro, we've seen here that you can check here what the index is saying. So the commercials are saying 6-month index is showing some buying on the index. The 18-month and the 36-month are not quite so significant, but the in the shorter term, it's showing some potential buying here, and you can see that there we are at a potential support level here with the euro. And when we go down to the actual where we see the buying and selling, we'll turn this net line off on the comms here. We'll turn that off a little bit, and just that little tick up there. I mean, it's not hugely significant at this stage. We'd want to see the index up here in 100 to suggest some really heavy buying, but that is suggesting that if we are going short on the euro, it might be time to tighten up those stops, because we might see some sort of retracement. And that what this is signaling is that at this stage, that's all it is. It's some potential retracement. So maybe looking for a little bit of upside in the euro this week. But it could be a counter trend trade, so might not be all that wise to get involved. If we bring in the seasonality, we are seeing that the euro is about to hit a potential low sometime around about the middle of March, and then it starts a bit of a stretch to the upside. And it kind of signals here that it won't necessarily be the low of the year, but it does suggest that maybe over the next quarter we see some accumulation in the euro. So the shorts look a little bit more dangerous. Let's quickly get to the dollar and have a look at what that is suggesting as well. And we can see with the dollar that the buying pressure that we've seen, this is suggesting buying up here on the index. And again, looking at what the actual numbers are down here, the difference between the sellers and the buyers. Sellers just ticking up a little bit here, and the buyers are quite flat. So could be a tricky week for trying to trade with the trend with the dollar. If you're looking to go long, might not be the most, might not be the easiest week. Now, the last thing I want to look at here is before I do that. Let's just quickly check on the seasonals with the dollar. Look at the seasonal pattern on the dollar as well. Sometime around the mid to the end of March, the dollar starts this big move to the downside potentially, right the way through to May. So there's quite mixed signals going on here. I think we do really need to watch out for what's going on with the fundamentals in the US, and for that reason, I just want to have a look at the US 10-year. Very, very telling. I think, we need to watch this chart like a hawk right now. We have seen some selling, but look at this support level here on the US 10-year. Now that is going to pay havoc if you're going long on things like gold. If this 10-year starts if it's going to play, it's going to play into your hands. If you're going long on gold, this is going to play into your hands if we see some buying up with this US 10-year. So it's well worth watching this. You want to see that yield start to come down, which it hasn't done as yet. It's still pretty bullish on the yield side, and you'd want to see these bonds start to get bought up on the 10-year to help the likes of gold out. But you can see there's a little bit of buying coming in potentially here. So buying could be starting, a little bit of selling pressure just coming off a little bit as well, and a potential support level. So so the 10-year is well worth noting. And anybody looking at long NASDAQ, that's something that you'd want to see as well. You wouldn't want to see that 10-year yield continue to push higher, particularly for the NASDAQ. It shows some pretty tricky signs. But so far, it looks okay. It looks like we might get a little bit of a bounce in a few things this week, potentially some of those equities and potentially things like gold. Dollar, euro, looks like it could be a bit of a tricky week. And it's the same with the Swissy and the yen, both suggesting could be a little bit of upside, but it might just be a retracement picture.
Is that you, mate?
That is me. Yes, that is me.
Well, we will go to Ainslie. Mate, thank you very much for that. We've got a few seconds to finish up with you. Sorry, mate, I'm just thinking Ainslie is not far away. But we've got a few seconds to wind up with you, mate. I've got 30 seconds here. Got Ainslie in the room as well. This stimulus check from Biden, Ash, is it going to have an impact?
Oh, yeah. I think it's already having an impact. The question is whether people have already kind of distributed their money. So yeah, it will have an impact, but I do think that the picture is a bit broader than that stimulus package. And even though it might have been the headline to watch out for, really right back to 3 months ago, I think it's becoming a little less so now. So yes, we're going to see some money pushed into the market, but there's other things and other factors we need to watch. Alexis suggesting about that that potential hike in interest rates, that becomes a lot more interesting in my opinion.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much for that. Ainslie, gold.
Hi.
Looks like it might have found a bottom to me. Do you think it might have found a bottom?
I don't know. Let's see how we go Wednesday. Wednesday's Fed Powell. If he's happy for Treasury, as Ash has just said, for Treasury yields to keep going up, because that for Fed Powell that means that it's a more positive outlook and broadly underpins the economy for the US. With Treasury yields going up, gold's going to go down. However, if he changes his mind and wants to keep a lid on that, then gold will obviously take up. But we had an uptick. I'll just share. I'm going to take the screen back. Yeah, sorry, Ash. We'll just.
So I just done some work on the settings. You got it, Ainslie? Are you okay?
Yeah, it's not letting me. There we go. It just wasn't letting me click it on. Here we go.
Yeah, I had to change the setting. I don't know why it turned up a little bit on that.
Okay, so we saw it at the end of the last week on gold. We saw it bottom down here at 1677, and then we had this amazing push. It was really good. We saw the US dollar get very soft, and off it went. And we're doing quite well, and then all of a sudden it just had a major hissy fit and came back down again. And by the end of close of session, New York session on Friday night, she'd taken back off again. And it's just trying to get a really good handle on this at the moment is difficult. Even within it, drifting down further. It's just been very, very touchy with what's being said. Is it going to go down to 16.15, which is a potential level on the daily? If things keep pushing higher as far as Treasury yields go, because there's a highly correlated inverse relationship between yields and gold at the moment. The inflationary story at the moment, we thought might actually, with those stimulus checks coming out this week, will it go into gold? Will it become an inflationary hedge? I think that story is already really priced into the market seriously on this one at the moment. And there's alternative markets for people to be dropping their stimulus checks into, like for crypto or the S&P or whatever we're looking at the moment. Interestingly enough, the 15th of March, on a seasonal, I'm not going to say it's a broad seasonal chart, but it's a seasonal chart that I've been doing some research into. It's the 15th of March, right down onto, I'm looking for a push for a week upwards. How that goes against the fundamentals of the Federal Reserve meeting on Wednesday, I'm not sure. But at the moment, you know, we've got a low test bar, we've got a pin bar happening here on the daily. I'd love to see that to go at least back up to $1,800. At least give me something to go on. But at the moment, we've just had a lot of mismatch, and at the moment, it's just the typical with gold. You just have to persevere, because when she takes off, and you've got to be on board. So the week ahead will be an interesting one with gold.
Cheers, Ainsley. Thank you very much for that. Are you thinking above the pin bar we are long, and below the pin bar we are just a bit concerned?
I think either way we're concerned. I think it will take off. Above the pin bar, like I said, I'd like to see it to come back up to the 50 EMA and continue on its way. That would be great, and it would tie in with some of the other seasonal biases that I've got for this week. But every time I get excited, I get clipped. So at the moment, I'm trading incredibly carefully. Really carefully.
Let's go to Shukri and talk crypto. We'll come back and talk oil with you in a moment, Ainsley. Interesting gold. I think right now I find it the most interesting of all the top products that we have. I'm not sure I can quite get it, but it does have a bottoming look about it to me. Rightio, let's talk crypto with Shukri. You've been talking crypto all day, mate. 60,900 and something, isn't it, mate?
Yeah,
60,700 and something.
700. So it went above 61K. Again, I think people are just buying this because stimulus checks will go to crypto, okay? But I think it's going to be the smaller ones. So they'll get out of Bitcoin and they'll come to things like Ethereum, went above 1,009, clipped back, but has not gone above 2,000 like last time. Now, our play on NEM, okay, this is when they declared the dividend of XYM, okay? The airdrop went down. So I'm looking to get out above 50 or 60. I bought at 18. I bought another one at 70. So 55 to 70 is the time to get out for me. Not waiting on NEM, but I'm waiting for the one that was airdrop. It should be starting coming to your wallets tomorrow. It's called XYM, and I'm looking to stake it and earn 60% APY. Now, guys, when this is listed, it's going to go on KuCoin first. It's going to dump. I don't care, because I'm going to find a home for this at 60%. This is a bit true, but I'm going to see if I can find it on Binance or either KuCoin. That's the strategy. I don't want to worry about the daily fluctuations. I don't care, because XYM is a very, very good token, okay? It's for the blockchain for business, which is very niche. I think that's very good. Now, we went in at Litecoin at 181, doing very well at 222. Let's see the progress this week on the Flare token distribution. Follow that up. So this one, we're coming in with XYM. I'm going to earn 60. I'm still waiting for the Flare declaration on Litecoin, and just will wait at that. Otherwise, I hope you guys went into Ethereum last week with me. We're having fun here. And Bitcoin.
Cheers, Shukri, is that you?
Yeah, that's it.
Mate, great month. Nice to have the Crypto Moon promotion done and dusted.
Yeah.
And last few guys have rolled in today, and we will get them organised tomorrow and Tuesday and ready for your event for the next couple of weekends, mate. Been a massive promotion. Thanks for all the time you've done into that. And boy, amazing the success percentage of that group you did for that last event. Nice to have them all coming into the various shows and talking about how much money they've made.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. Okay.
Cheers, guys. We are going to go to Lloyd in about a minute and a half. Before we do that, if you're looking for some content, remember to keep an eye on the shows we're doing this week. With this show in the future to be cut up and offered as small parts as well as the big one, we'll have over 30 free shows a week for Forex, stocks, and crypto. I would encourage you guys to keep an eye out. Gordon Scott's Monday night charts and chats with Gordon. I think it's 10:30. Sings a must. Bob, the big count builder, 9:30 Tuesday, obviously a must. Julian, fortnightly for his Trader Cafe. We missed him today. We will pick that up for you guys next week. Lots of free content, guys. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel. Keep an eye on the Actions to Wealth Facebook and the Online Trading Profits Facebook for all the information, all that kind of stuff. And the big news, you guys should be hearing this not far away from now. We have started a public thing on Telegram. So we'll have Actions to Wealth, Online Trading Profits, and a public Telegram group to keep you updated with all this stuff. We're trying to get a little bit of the show stuff out of that company Telegram stuff to keep that right on point, and we'll put that into the public stuff. Rightio, it is nearly time. We are looking to go to Lloyd. Lloyd, are you with me?
Hi, Paul. Yep, I'm in.
Hey, mate, what are we talking about today?
All right, so let me grab the screen.
Lloyd, one of the things that you do here is you're going to talk about relative currency strength, and people talk a lot about the dollar index, but what you're talking about is the dollar index, and if you like, the New Zealand index, the Australian index. This isn't New Zealand versus Canada. This is the New Zealand against everything, the Canadian versus everything. That's what we're talking about today, right?
Yep. So currency indices is really just that particular currency, New Zealand and Aussie, versus all the others. So you get a general idea of whether that particular currency is going to weaken or strengthen. Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Just about that. So just a bit of update from last week. Last week? Yeah, last week. Dollar Swiss, last week I did mention that I'm waiting for dollar Swiss to actually strengthen. Didn't really go very far. So, but it's still strengthening. So, got to keep a lookout whether this week I have more entry opportunities. Then Euro CAD actually went very well for me. So you can see that this was a projection last week. Price indeed did retest the horizontal level and went down. Yeah, so this was a 2 trade that recommended last week. Now let's have a look for this week. Now, dollar index, it did hit the previous low and then came down. So on Monday it's gonna be pretty important for me for Monday to trading USD, because if it's gonna hold this particular level, which is the classic previous resistance now turn support, I think it's gonna just go through the higher time frame support level. Yeah. So Monday is gonna be I'm gonna keep a lookout of it. If it doesn't, then once it breaks down, I'll probably just close out all my USD position. Now CAD, last week also bullish about it, and it did close above the very important level of 80 for me. Let's have a look at the weekly chart. So you can see that this is on the weekly chart. This is a very, very bullish bar we have. So no doubt, I'm still going to keep on being bullish for CAD. Now, of course, when price approaches, I think the last time it went about 82.5. I'm going to be cautious about it, but that's still quite some pips away. Now, Aussie, if you look at the daily chart, weekly chart for Aussie, let me blow it up a bit. Yeah, so on the weekly chart, price has been actually fluctuating in a range per se. So the daily chart, this is how it looks like. Yeah, so with that in mind, I don't think I'll be recommending to touch Aussie anytime soon. Until price actually breaks out of this range, then we can have a clearer idea where it wants to go. Now, pretty much the same for Kiwi. So the weekly chart, you can see that price is actually on a tight range. Yeah, it had a fake out and then come back in again. So on the daily chart, this is what it looks like. Yeah, so until it decides to break out or down, I don't think we should be touching. Personally, for me, I won't be recommending touching either of this commodity pair. Yeah, I mean, if you want to touch commodity, CAD is actually rather interesting right now. British pound, when you look at the weekly chart, on the level of 140, the psychological level is still holding up well. So when we look at the daily chart, you can see that price actually make a higher low. So on that, I'm still be semi-bullish about British pound. Yeah, but just be really cautious about 140. If you're going to trade pound, I would suggest you to have a TP1 soon. Don't really bet against this level. Yeah, it has held this level pretty well for the past to now. Yeah. So don't really putting all your head and says that price will definitely go through. Now, Swiss, I'm still going to continue to be bearish about it. So the weekly chart, if you look at it, you can see that price definitely closed below 108. Yeah, so I'll be bearish about Swiss all the way until 100. Yeah, so that's going to be far away. That's going to be one good bearish trend. Pretty much the same story for yen. This bearish trend is already in there. If you have not been in this as a trend trader, I think you're missing out a lot of funds. On that, price still have a fair bit to go until 90, so we still have a good way to ride. And euro, yeah, it really closed below 120. Yeah, so this is a huge psychological level for me. On the daily chart, price has already retested 120. So on Monday, I'll be on the lookout to see whether price will print a bearish bar for me. If it does, I'll be happily scaling in again. Now, for the upcoming week ahead, let me see. Yeah. Yen is the one that I'll be looking out for. I suspect on the daily chart it'll be tough for us to get it. So on the 4 hour, any kind of consolidation or even retracement, slight retracement, I'll be very happy to get in. Very happy to get in. Yeah. Euro dollar, on the daily chart, we can see that price broke level. You can see this previous horizontal level. Price broke, retested. So once Monday gives me a bearish bar, bearish engulfing, or even a high test bar, I'll also be very happy to get it. Yeah, so keep lookout for CAD and euro dollar. That's all for me, Paul.
Cheers, Lloyd. Thank you very much. Interesting to see the potential for a little bit of euro weakness in there as well. We will watch that with a little bit of interest. Next up, we're going to go to oil, and as much as you're an expert for both gold and oil, as much as at times gold can frustrate, oil just continues to run up at this point, right?
Look, there is a bit of I've been a little bit happy. We were looking last Sunday, we looked at oil closing right on that monthly resistance R1, and we thought we might see a bit of a pullback, a bit of a retracement before we got another opportunity to go in. Look, what happened on Monday morning, because you might be a little bit surprised to see it, actually, it ran. And it ran up for one reason. It was a bombing of an oil port in Saudi Arabia. So unfortunately, there was a bombing. We had a massive pull up, but then we got our retracement. We finally got it, so hey, we were there initially. Then obviously it came down. Oil loving 50 EMA on the day, and as you can see here on the 20 EMA on the daily. And oh, sorry, wrong one. Looking at, I've been doing Shukri's course today. My head's a bit fried. I don't know about anybody else's, but yeah. But look, we had that retracement back up there is to a 61.8 Fibonacci retracement. I've tested it. It is, and it's just sitting there. We've gone sideways for the last couple of weeks. Where I think this is going to go, I am bullish oil again. It has had its profit taking, it's had its recovery from this. We're looking at increased economic activity. We are looking at the vaccines rolling out and being successfully administered. We are looking at a draining in the oil inventories at the moment with what has been going on. So we've had quite a few really positive things. We've had as the Saudis and OPEC countries not lifting their restrictions, so they're keeping true to their word. So that's going to push that oil price higher. We just had to see a few technical things happen on the chart, and that's what we've seen. And I think we'll see for the next week another push higher. Nothing more to add to that except to just wait. As you said, you've got this push back down. If it comes back down, look for your entry. It'll be pretty obvious where to get back in again.
Cheers for that, Ainsley. Much appreciated. Got to admit, I'm a little bit gutted. I missed the re-entry. I got into oil at a pretty nice place for this run, but I would like to have added on the pullback and the bounce. It bounces pretty clearly off support too, doesn't it? It comes back to a weekly pivot. The grand old weekly pivot gives a nice test bar. Yeah. Would like to be back in there if I'm disappointed to have missed that. So, long-term prognosis for you? You think oil is a buy long-term?
I think it is at the moment. They're coming out of a shocking winter and the oil demand's up. It's the economic recovery. And with the stimulus that Biden is pushing into the economy, it's just that economic activity. And I know I shared with you this morning a very, very exciting, it made headline news on the Sydney Morning Herald. That wasn't just a side article, it was a travel bubble that's opening up in July between New Zealand, Singapore and Australia. But
yeah, we're leaving us out because we're useless at travel bubbles. I don't know why New Zealand can't get ourselves sorted out and get involved in this, but they're leaving us out for now.
Yeah, look, we'll see what happens. They want in, but, who knows? But, that's just, even if it's talk about that, it's perception that actually can drive the market a lot more than actually the reality. So the idea, and I've got to say, a lot of excitement in Australians thinking that they can dust off a passport that's been shelved for 12 months. It's the vaccine, it's the uptick in the economic activity. It's, and I've got to look at the Northern Hemisphere. They're coming out of a pretty solid, torrid kind of winter. And that's got to help things along as well. So it's a lot of, whilst it's not tactile, it's potentially far more positive economically than we have had. But yeah, that's why I think, you look at that and it's just continued to go up. Downside, why would there be? There is no downside fundamentally, and we all know that this commodity runs on a lot of the news.
Yeah, I mean, given they can control supply to some degree, I mean, it was in a lovely range for a long period of time. It's been a great trend. It's always been pretty good over the last sort of 6 or 8 months. I'm with you, Ainslie. That travel bubble, for instance, is going to start in July. By August, we should have 80% of Australia vaccinated. Singapore will be going well into that process as well, and really, you can only see that accelerating. If they're going to start in July, you can only see it being a very, very realistic acceleration of that from that point forward, right?
I think it's with anything, and with any project you do, if you've got a deadline, you work to it. You step it up and you work to it instead of this faffing around about the next stage will be, whatever phase it is, or stage 5 or stage 2A, because all the frontline health workers are done and all the rest of it. But now that they've got a deadline and they can push it along, who knows? I think so.
Cheers, Ainslie. Thank you very much for that. Next up, we are joined by Geoff looking at technicals. Geoff, are you with us?
G'day, mate. Yes, I am. Absolutely.
G'day, mate. How you doing?
Going? I'm good.
Good, mate. How's Tasmania?
What did I say last week? Perfect one day better than next, or something like that? Beautiful one day perfect. No, Queensland says that, but they're all BS. They don't know what they're talking about.
True.
No, beautiful, mate. Everything's good here.
That's lovely, mate.
Technically, look, I think you could just cut out last week's recording and replay it, frankly, because not a whole lot happened in my world last week. I'm not sure what screen you've got. Have you got Euro dollar monthly?
We do have Euro dollar monthly, yep.
Okay, then let's start there. I'm going to start in reverse, actually. Euro, I said last week I was a little bit bullish, the euro. I forgot to say everything except the US dollar, but I've now I've swung that around, and I am going to give it a chance against the US dollar this week. And it's based not so much on the monthly chart, because you can see a bounce there off the monthly trend line. But you can also see a rejection of that horizontal level, which is around about 119.50. This area here, pretty much exactly where price is, where it's been resistance, it's been support, it's been resistance again. We broke that resistance and we're now retesting it. The only thing here that really is an issue is that trend line for me, because we do have a nice little base. We've got a big higher high, big higher low, and now an equal high sitting there. Just waiting for probably a couple of things to, and not least of which will be what the market's going to do when it opens on Monday morning. But I see the range that we've been in. We've been in a bit of a retracement, let's call it that, on the bigger move on euro dollar, as the dollar has rallied rather than the euro has weakened, in my humble opinion. But if you have a look at euro CAD, you'd be saying, no, that's a whole lot of BS. But versus the US dollar, the euro's had a pretty good run through 2020 or pretty much 12 months, the 12 months since March 2020. So I see this as probably just another retracement at this point. The question is, when do we go? And I see a little double cross, what I call a double cross of last week's weekly pivot. And that kind of interests me. What I would like to see is proof of a false break of this level, this horizontal level. And that's kind of the same thing. We were broken below that horizontal level of 119.50 that I mentioned, got above last week's weekly pivot, then tried to get back below it, got below it okay, but we also have a very, very long tail on that candle. That's really interesting to me. And I probably, if there is no big gap in the market in the morning, I will probably have a look at this daily chart and maybe place an order above that bar with my stop loss below it. So again, if there's no gap in the market, that's what I'll be looking to do on euro dollar tomorrow. But I will be following it if that doesn't take place. You can see that the last time we hit the bottom of this range, or the last time we hit this range, it was the bottom, and we now have a potential higher low on that and looking to trade it towards the top of that range. Pound Aussie, a little bit different, but same in terms of what I'm looking to trade. I'm looking to trade off the bottom of a range to the top of a range. You see here on the monthly chart how we broke into the low side of that ascending channel, retested it on the bottom side, but failed to get below what really is a fairly soft, I would have thought, horizontal level here. Went into range. And since we've gone into range, this is the monthly chart, don't forget, we've been in here for a while and we've had 3 tests of the bottom. I've got no reason to think we won't have a test of the top again and maybe even this level up here. That's what I've got in my sights anyway on Pound Aussie. Not sure why in terms of fundamentally, because the Aussie fundamentally should be strong, but I totally see that from a technical level, and we are at a support level here. I like the fact that we've come off the bottom of that range, and I will be looking to trade that as I was all week last week, just couldn't get the entry. But it's pretty clear to me that we've got another higher low sitting here. It's just a matter of getting timing right and making sure that we don't trade into these highs. We've got to trade above them, or we've got to get a nice entry down here somewhere. I'd love to see this pick up a support trade line through here, get below it, come back above it, and then retest it. But if it gets down here, certainly I'll be looking to play it long from that point and up to around about the 184.20 mark. And finally, Euro Aussie, exactly the same as it was last week. We were looking to trade this long as well. Very, very clear to me that we're at the bottom of that channel, also at a horizontal level around about the 154, maybe even 155 mark. Looking for an entry long. I can see it there now, this big bullish engulfing bar here, followed by that little retest of the weekly pivot there. That gets me very, very interested. And as I said last week, I can't ignore these 2 bull bars. They're the biggest bars on the chart, and they've happened for a reason. This may well be the higher low, and I look to trade that on Friday, actually. Didn't trigger, but I think it's still there. And providing there's no gap in the market tomorrow, again, I'll be looking to place an order above that bar with my stop loss below it, looking for the weekly pivot in the first instance, which of course will change. Don't think it'll go too far, maybe come down a little bit. But then I'll be looking for the monthly pivot. And if it does reverse, then there's plenty available for us up the top as well. So, mate, as I say, pretty much a replay of last week's analysis. Nothing really changed.
Well, mate, let's see if this week the market will move in our direction and put us a little bit to the good for it, mate. Thank you very much for that. Cheers, everybody. We're going to stay with this format of sort of 5 minutes a trader. From next week, we will be cutting it up and putting it out as separate shows as well as the combined show. Also coming up, obviously, we have got changes in daylight savings in New Zealand in the first week of April. I think the UK is the last week of March. US not far away. Australia must also change back to normal time at some point, doesn't it, Geoff?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. I should have a look at it. It's generally around about the Easter mark these days, so I don't even know when Easter is. But
Easter
it's
is the
generally around
first
this
weekend in April. So
then
we
I'd be backing that weekend.
We'll keep an eye on that, but it may mean we can move the show Easter US tomorrow. Cannot be. Easter's the same for everybody, and it's not tomorrow. Easter us tomorrow. It can't be Easter in Australia tomorrow. I'm sure that's not right, Gary. No, I'm reasonably sure it's not right. I'm sure they're all the same time. Anyway, we'll have a look on. We'll have a look and check that out. But it does mean we may see the standard show move back an hour. It'll mean that 9:20 New Zealand becomes 5:20 Sing, which we might be able to work off around a sort of 9:30, 5:30 time. Cheers, Gary. We'll have a look at that. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful night. I know it's been a long few weeks, guys. Those of you who've been doing the crypto stuff, you have been in that. I know a number of you have been in Shoki's course every week for the last 3 weeks. Thank you, Shoki, for running that. For those of you that have attended it, enjoy the rest of the evening off, and we'll be back Monday. Keep an eye out Monday, of course. We will have Trading Buddies featuring Ash and Geoff at 3:50 p.m. Singapore next week. Monday to Thursday, make sure you do catch that. We will have a link on as well doing her trading stuff around 11 a.m. Sing. I think that is going to 10 a.m. Sing because of the change in GMT. Have the English moved? I think they've moved already, actually. Maybe it's the US that moved. Somebody is moving. So there will be a change to that show to 10 a.m. Sing from Tuesday and Wednesday. Cheers, guys. Thanks for being with us. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Grab some rest, those that can. Take it easy. Make some money this week, guys. Remember, just stay calm and make good decisions. It's an interesting time. If you can get this stimulus money hitting the market at the right place, I think you're still going to see some good opportunities to make a bit extra money. A little bit of a bonus, a Biden bonus. I think we have a Biden bonus on our way. We will look forward to that very much. Cheers to the team. Thank you very much for coming out at an odd time and helping us out again. As always, you guys are amazing. We will see all of you guys next week. Take care. See you later.